It's happening. Now then, this one smells like a St. George's mushroom, and it has cream gills, and it has the inturned lip. Now I'm going to have to clarify this when I get back, but there's a thing. It's a solid mushroom. It's a dry. Oh shit! I've broken it a little bit. Yeah. Oh, there's a couple more here. That one's damaged. Oops. But and this one, little button-up one. Yeah. So I know where there's more of these. Well, at least I know where I found them last year. And so I'll have a mosey on up there. So the sun's out, people, and the fluffy clouds are in the sky. That's a good sign, isn't it? The leaves are just starting to bud on the trees, and so it's all happening. And so feels like it's a little bit weird because I never did this for several months, and now I'm back out again with my old faithful steed, my ash staff, and I can see more mushrooms just down there, and I would think that they are the same. They look the creamy same variety. So I think the St. George's mushroom is called St. George's because these fungi tend to make their appearance on or about St. George's Day, which is about 24th or 25th of May, isn't it? But this is the thing with the world. It's a beautiful thing, and it always keeps us on our toes. It always will surprise us all the time. It will never be stereotyped. It will never be put into a box. You're never going to pigeonhole the universe. And so it's going to be interesting, because to visit all of the same haunts that, you know, I've done for a few years now, you get to know where mushrooms of a variety grow. But then you can go there the next year and they won't be there. And it's kind of like, well, some trees will fruit in abundance and then the next year they won't fruit at all. It's like they're conserving their energies. And so it's wonderfully intriguing when we have a relationship with Mother Earth, because it really is just like having a relationship with a person. You never know for sure how they're going to be. There's lots of things that move us in many ways. And just around this patch here, I find, forget the name of them, but they're a poisonous mushroom, and they don't smell nice, they don't feel nice, they don't look nice. Everything about them is very indicative that you wouldn't want to eat them. And so that's one thing that nature's got going for her on lots of occasions. Kind of tells us. Now these mushrooms I've got in my pocket, and there's more just down here. They smell pleasant, they feel pleasant, they look pleasant, and so I think St. George's mushrooms have come out to play early this year. So Yep. And it's beautiful when you find them in this beautiful little button shape. So I've got every confidence now that these are St. George's mushrooms, because I don't recollect finding any other white gilled mushroom which smells mealy, feels and looks like this, the St. George's mushroom. But of course I'm going to make sure I'm doing all of my checks, and the only two that I'm aware of which we shouldn't be eating are the destroying angel and the death cap, and they grow within wooded realms, I think, in general, but of course, you know, we can never be sure. They might one day decide to grow in grassy areas. They've always been an isolated mushroom as far as I can gather. They never grow in groups. And being Amanita, they have a large vulva, which is very telling. And so anyway, guys and girls, it's good to be back out walking, listening to the birds in the natural environment. You know, I was thinking, you know what happened to me over these last few months? I've been saying to my sidekick, Mr. Nobody, I've been saying that I don't know why it is, because I haven't had any DMT for a couple of years, because of the winter time and I haven't been out in the natural environment, because I've been concentrating on my book and I've been on the computer for many hours a day, and I've been distracted because it's been the winter and there's been nothing to come and look at. But I've felt myself becoming more and more detached from God. So when I write my book, Closer to God, I speak about how we become closer to God. And there's many ways in which we do this. And one of them is via our connection to God's creation. And when we stop doing that, when we get involved with the electronics, when we don't come out into the natural world, and when we're not helping ourselves along with the appropriate entheogens, we can feel ourselves slipping away from the kingdom of God. And so for those of you that are interested in things I say, I really do encourage you to give your best shot at getting through my book. Some of it's going to be tough for you people. You're going to need staying power. You're going to need purpose and reason as to why you will be studying what I've wrote, because it's a study. It's not a light read. At least lots of it's not a light read. Now that bird, it looked like a very large coal tit, twice the size of a coal tit. But you see, when you see robins this time of year, you'll see the tiniest little skinny ones, which evidently are the males, and then you've got birds which are twice the size, evidently the females, with child. And so there's a lot to learn, there's so much to learn, and we can always be deceived and confused because nature doesn't follow a pattern like one would suppose it would, like scientists suppose it does. You see, this is the thing about the natural environment. All scientists deal with math, and if it can't be repeatable time after time after time after time, the exact same thing with math, then they don't believe in it. But I don't get why they are so steadfast in that closed mind and that narrow parameter of thinking, because they can't apply that to anything else in the natural world. It does not work. Nature is different. The leaves are different, the trees are different, the barks are different, the feathers are different, the beaks are different, their eyes are different. Every single thing's different, even in the human being. Some people, believe it or not, have existed for many, many years without mammalian brains, without the grey matter that we have. They only have the stem brain, which is the very, very small stem brain, which is called the reptilian brain. They've only had that, and the rest of their skull's just been filled with cerebral fluid. They haven't had the grey matter. And yet, their IQ is average. You just got to go figure with this world, people. You really have got to go figure. It's incredible, it's amazing, and it will never ever be deciphered. It's not meant to be deciphered. The genius of it is indecipherable. It's a magical mystery tour. It's incredible. And so I've got another video, which I'll probably I'll make anew, because if people, I don't know, you guys. But I know this much, what I've discovered over the years with regular viewers, I know when I put the video up, pretty well who I'm going to get to comment, pretty well who I'm going to entice out from under their stone. Whether I'm ranting, whether I'm philosophizing, whether I'm on my nature walks, pointing out pleasurable, interesting things, whether I'm fungi foraging. I know there's, it's horses for courses. And some of you are not interested in lots of those subjects, but you are in others. And it's curious for me because I have an interest in many subjects. Unlike my cooking videos, some people will never watch my cooking videos. They're not interested. But my cooking videos invariably always entail philosophy. There's always some philosophy within my cooking videos. And those of you that appreciate them know that. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'll round this video up. And then I've got another one. I've got something else to say. Of course I have. I mean, I'm out in the natural world where these trees emit pure oxygen. And so I'm experiencing a higher than average ratio of oxygen to nitrogen. And so my brain evidently is firing, but not only that, I'm in this natural living environment which I am a part of. It is me, I am it, and now I'm within it. I'm back in the womb again, you see. I'm not looking at a cold dead computer. I'm not looking at binary. I'm not looking at math digits. I'm doing what we're supposed to be doing. I'm out and I'm living. I'm not just existing, people. How many of you are just existing? How many of you have got these stupid jobs that you do? Why do you do that? There's plenty of other things you can do, You don't have to do that. You can live like a king like me and never work a stroke. I don't get it, I don't. Why would anybody want to bring all that unnecessary stress upon themselves? And which takes them out of the kingdom of God. Why would you want to do that? See, I'm in the kingdom of God now. I'm listening to that. I would think it's a cold tit that's giving that. Beautiful sound. Tits have got loads of different intonations in their vocabulary. And I just saw a little wren over there. And I'm going to be encountering some more fungi and lots of birds and squirrels. I've been feeding the squirrels because when I come out these days, I just put a few nuts in my pocket, and then when I see them, if they don't bolt, then I'll throw them a morsel here and there, and it gives them a whole new culinary experience, because they've never had peanuts in their shells. They've probably never had peanuts. They've just got these buds and boring shit. And it's amazing. I just threw a peanut to a squirrel in the graveyard, and they have an extra sensory perception of finding food. And I've noticed this when I've been throwing nuts to squirrels in my garden. They often don't have an awareness that you are offering them something and you throw them something and it's food. It's a bit like dogs. If you throw the ball and then point to the ball, the dog just looks at your finger, doesn't it? It's got no comprehension of that. But when I throw these nuts around the garden, the squirrels can be 10 feet away, but within 30 seconds they'll meander around, and I don't think they are smelling the food. I think they have a extra sensory perception whereby they are picking up on the vibration of that food with some sort of morphic resonance going on. Now, this is entirely my hypothesis, and probably within a few years scientists will have discovered squirrels can determine where the food is via an extra sensory perception. And I'll go, I fucking could have told you that 20 years ago, fools. Why do I know this? Well, there's lots of things, but one of them is because I'm a very old soul. Another thing is because I'm very tuned in, observant, astute, and I think in broad spectrums. I'm not being closed down by anything. It's a free-for-all, this cosmos. And many things which people have thought hundreds of years ago, which were deemed to be absolutely outlandish and preposterous and ridiculous, and people have wanted to burn them and, you know, do all these sort of things to them, and they've turned out to be true. Many people aren't ready for the truth, people. And that's why there's this video, it's a famous video. You say you want truth, you're not ready for the truth. People are not ready for the truth. The truth is terrifying. That's the irony of it. The truth is terrifying. It entails you fucking being God, being the cosmos. And this human existence is fucking just a twinkle in your eye. You fucking, all the things that you think are real, it's just bullshit. You're just having a fucking dream, people. But it can be a beautiful dream, or it can be a nightmare. How many of you are living the dream? Or how many of you are experiencing the nightmare? It's what you make of it. It's what you think about it. It's how you think. That's what creates your world, your mind entirely. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. I can be saying lots of things in my videos and in my book, and you're like, oh, I don't believe that, oh, I don't think that's true, and it won't be for you. But if you lend yourself to it and think like, well, that's an interesting concept, I'm going to keep open-minded about that and see if I can experience that too. Then all of a sudden, you're in that realm and you will experience it and you'll go, holy Moses, that's what Aaron's been saying. Yeah. You just got to let go of your preconceptions and your propaganda and your biases and your dogma. You got to let it all go, people. And you just got to be open. Anyway, I need a piss. Oh, you know, coming into these places, it's just a massive sigh of relief. It's like I'm coming back into the womb every time. And it's kind of like, oh, I'm here now. I've been out there. I've been doing this and doing that. But now I'm back. I'm here. I just wonder what it would have been like, you know, a few hundred years ago, when we lived entirely in the natural world, when everything was natural. There wasn't anything which was you know, remotely what you could consider to be superficial, synthetic, man-made, you know, outside of, you know, wood and stone, no metal, nothing else, wood and stone. You're living in the Stone Age, which would have been a wonderful age, because I'm telling you, they weren't sick. They were very, very healthy. They had to have been living on natural produce and being active constantly and always, being alert and involved in the Garden of Eden. They weren't sick people. And so I could well envision that they lived to be really quite old, and the only thing that then will constitute their death, if, you know, well, in times of war, they would get killed because they weren't strong enough. If people lived nomadic lives, then they couldn't keep up. And you know, there's certain nomadic tribes in Africa which had a policy that it was just a natural thing that when the elderly got to a point whereby they couldn't keep up, the rest of the tribe wouldn't wait for them. They would leave them some food and some water and do some prayers and a ceremony, and then the next morning at dawn they'd be up and gone. Because they couldn't stay. A nomadic tribe has to follow the herd, you know, has to follow the food source. If they're not a hunter-gatherer, a forager, like, you know, out in the African plains where there's very little to forage, you've got to find meat. Well, as soon as you couldn't keep up, that was it. You said, I can't keep up anymore. And you don't want to. You're tired, you're old, you're in pain. It's time for you to join the food cycle. You know, lions, hyenas, whatever. And I suppose they would have took some potion which sent them to a permanent sleep. I'm pretty sure they would have worked that one out. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you in a bit.